YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the 7 things that I wish I knew before I started hunting. I started hunting when I was a young adult, 19 or 20 years old, and I did not grow up in a hunting family, nor did I have any friends that were hunters. So this is going to be geared towards the folks who are looking to get into hunting and may not have other resources around them, but this will also be helpful to anyone who is about to start their journey into hunting. So let's jump right in. First thing that I wish I knew was how to find a mentor. Now, this is probably the hardest of all of the things that I will be talking about today, but my first suggestion is to visit your Fish and Game Commission's website. So every single state has a Fish and Wildlife or a Fish and Game Commission who manages your hunting regulations, your hunting seasons, etc. All you'll have to do is Google search Fish and Game in whatever your state is, and you will find the website that way. Now, Fish and Game Commissions tend to have mentor programs, which is why that is the first place that I would recommend going. You can visit their website. You can also call and they'll be able to lead you to mentor programs or maybe able to link you up with someone. Second thing I would recommend is whenever you go to your hunter safeties course, because if you don't know, before you are allowed to purchase a hunting license, you must attend a hunter safety course. The teacher at that class is a great resource to use as a mentor or to network with to potentially find a mentor. Some states do not require an in-person training session, but I'm almost positive that every state offers an in-person training session. So go, network, potentially find a mentor there. Third, this is a little bit of a stretch, but you can get involved with local conservation groups in your area, specifically sportsman focused groups. I have 3 that I would definitely recommend. Artemis, which I am actually a co-founder of. That is great for women who are looking to find mentors. Backcountry Hunters and Angler is great for anyone, male, female, doesn't matter your age. They have some great mentor programs as well. And Whitetails Unlimited. I know the least about Whitetails Unlimited, but I do know that they offer services like that. So you could go to local events, maybe like a trivia night, a pint night, and meet people, start talking about your interest in hunting, and voila, you may have found a mentor, or reach out to those groups about potential mentoring programs. I feel like I said mentor 100 times in this little segment, but you get the point. So all of the information for those groups will be listed down below. Next thing that I wish I knew was how to find public land, or even more so, what public land was or what public land is. Public land is a big term that encompasses everything from a national park to Central Park in New York City. So not all public land is created equal. It's managed by a number of different agencies on both the federal and state levels, so it can get a little complex, but I have the tips on how to find public land that you can hunt. And I'm gonna lead you right back to your Fish and Game Commission's website at the state level. That is going to be the absolute best way to find public land in your area. Again, give them a call or go to their website. Every Fish and Game website has public land listed on it, so you absolutely will be able to find some information there. Even more so, many states have programs which will show private land that allows public hunting access. So lots of good stuff on your Fish and Game website. You can also try apps like onX Hunt, HuntWise, Outly. There are a number of other apps that offer sort of like a GPS imagery of the boundaries between public land and private land. I would recommend exploring those on your own, finding one that you like and that fits your budget, and potentially using that from there to help you find more pieces of public land. And I also apologize if I keep looking down. I have my computer for reference so that I hit all of these points, so that's why my eyes are traveling down. Next thing I wish I knew was how important it is to read your state's hunting regulations. I don't need to go very far into this because it is so self-explanatory, but you're gonna wanna go right back to the Fish and Game website and download a copy of your hunting regulations. The regulations change every year or two, so every year before you go out and hunt, download those regs, grab a beer or two, and just read it front to back. Maybe read it a couple of times so that you make sure that you don't miss anything important. If you purchase a license in store, they have physical copies of the regulations there as well. Next thing I wish I knew was how to find equipment and how to know what equipment you need when you're about to go hunting. This question is so hard to answer because there are so many different styles of hunting. There's so many different species to pursue and different geographic locations that change the gear that you need drastically. So my first recommendation is to walk into a Cabela's, a Field & Stream, a Scheels, and ask someone working in the store. Let's say you're going on your first elk hunt. You can walk in the store, just explain your situation. Hey, I'm going on my first elk hunt. Can you help show me what we need? Show me what I need. This is a little hit or miss because some stores train their employees a little better than others, and you might just end up with, frankly, an asshole who isn't going to help you very much. But in most situations, you should be able to pull a little information and at least start the process of figuring out what equipment you need. My second recommendation is to do what you're doing right now and look up YouTube videos on the gear that you need when you're getting started. I am going to make a video about this because I think it was one of the hardest things for me to understand when I first started, and I want to be able to help put more information out there. So stay tuned for that. But there are a lot of different videos like that that do exist. So that is a resource for you that's available. If you are someone who is a seasoned hunter that just happens to be watching this video, leave some comments below about what your gear list looks like for whitetail hunting or for elk hunting or other game species. I'm going to compile all of this information based off of my kit, other people's kits, and try to come up with a really good beginner setup for some of the main species. Regardless, back to my next point. Finding gear is a lot easier if you've already found your mentor. So if you go back to point number 1, try and check finding a mentor off your list before you try to tackle finding gear and buying gear, because your mentor will really be able to, show you what you need and what you don't need. Now, I would like to add in here before we move on, you do not need the most expensive gear. And I feel like I'm almost part of the problem in this. I feel like when you look on Instagram or you're watching YouTube videos or hunting television, these people, including myself, are wearing and using the most expensive high-end gear. And I feel like that leaves new hunters with the feeling that they need expensive gear to go out and hunt. And that is absolutely not true. A lot of these people that you're seeing, it's their life. So yeah, of course, people like that are going to invest in the best gear that they can. As a newbie, set your budget and stick to it, and don't feel pressured to buy expensive things until you figure out that this is something that you really love, and then gear out, nerd out, and buy things as you can afford them. But that's just my little, I feel like my PSA about that. I almost forgot this, but I do have this written in my notes, which is exactly why I'm using my notes. You do not need camouflage to start hunting. That was something that held me back for a long time. I felt like I needed to wear camouflage to go hunting. Meanwhile, I had a lot of outdoorsy clothes that I was totally cool with getting dirty or getting smelly, and I didn't think that I could wear them. I thought that I needed camouflage. So as long as you have clothes that you can get dirty, wear what you have, and then you'll figure out what you need. The next thing that I wish I knew was how important safety is. And to be honest, this is something that I still struggle with, which sounds so stupid, but here are a couple tips on how to keep yourself safe. A, always tell someone where you are going before you go out. Have your phone fully charged, especially if you're going into the backcountry. Consider even bringing like an external charger, because you might have cell service, you might not, but if something happens and you do, you want a device that's charged. Also, if you're going to be doing Western hunts, you may want to consider a GPS. Now, to have a GPS that has like satellite capabilities, you will need to pay a monthly fee. Some of these are month to month, some of them are year-long contracts, so there's a little bit to look into with that, but a GPS is definitely something great to consider. And also, consider bringing a map and a compass. It sounds so lame, but I love physical maps, and I find that I feel like a lot of hunters like physical maps. So it's good to have one in your pack. Again, that's more for a Western pursuit. If you're looking to hunt whitetail, some of those things might be a little bit extra, but it's still important because when you're going in the whitetail woods, you could fall out of your tree stand if you're hunting out of a tree stand, and if you didn't tell anyone that you were going, then you die from exposure overnight. So, safety. Next thing I wish I knew was that wind and thermals are legit. If you are a new hunter and you've done any research on how to hunt, I'm sure you have heard people talk about playing the wind and thermals. I am here to tell you that that's something that I greatly overlooked when I first started, and I heard people talk about it, and I was like, wind, yeah, great, what else? And it wasn't until I was out in the field and had a couple of experiences where I saw how much the wind and thermals play into your hunt. So here are the very basics. I would highly recommend doing more research on this, but just to like get you started, just like something to keep in your brain. You always want to keep the wind at your face, never at your back. AKA, you want the wind blowing from the animal to you, not from you to the animal, because that's when they're going to sniff you and that's when you're going to get busted. As far as thermals go, if you're hunting in a mountainous area, in the morning, those thermals are going to be pulled down. So essentially there's going to be a wind from the top of the mountain that pulls down to the bottom until that sun starts to rise and it starts to hit the slopes of the mountain. There will be this little limbo of swirly wind until the thermals start to pull upward. So then you'll have the wind going from the bottom of the mountain to the top. Then we get towards the end of the day and the reverse is going to happen again. After that sun sort of sets behind the mountain and there's no more sun, that wind is going to be pulled back down. Again, that's very basic. There are a lot of sort of nuances and weird things that can happen, but just as a basic to try to keep in your mind. What's really is most important is to pay attention to the wind. Get yourself a little wind checker, puff it every so often, and make sure that the wind is going away from the game that you're pursuing or potentially pursuing, where you think the game is, you know? Next thing I wish I knew before I started hunting is how to stay motivated when you're not seeing anything. This was actually something that was brought up by one of you guys on Instagram. I'd actually put a post up before filming this video to see if people had other ideas and topics on what to talk about. And I love this one because as a new hunter, you are going to go out into the world and you are going to fail a lot. You're going to hunt and not see things and be frustrated because maybe you're not understanding things. And my advice is to adjust your mindset so that you are looking forward to the experience and the adventure and learning more about wildlife and about their habitat, and have that be the core of why you're pursuing an animal, because then you will enjoy every single time you go outside, every single time. And that is what will keep you coming back and will help you stay motivated. The last thing that I wish I knew before I started hunting was how to find people that are like-minded. If you are an adult onset hunter who does not have other hunters around you, you definitely don't have any friends to go hunting with. So how do you find like-minded people? My first tip is to connect with people on social media. It's a little awkward and can be a little hard, but if you reach out to people who are in your area or in your state, you would be surprised at how many hunters are welcoming and want to build friendships with other people. So just keep social media on your radar. It's a really good tool for connecting to people. I mean, after all, it is kind of what it was created for. So, next tip actually connects back to how I suggested finding a mentor, and that is through conservation groups. So, some of the groups that I talked about earlier, Artemis, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a lot of conservation groups host pint nights or trivia nights or banquets and other things like that, where like-minded people literally come together in the same room. So I would highly recommend looking up your local BHA chapter, looking up Artemis, and seeing if there are any events around you. Whitetails Unlimited, Ducks Unlimited, I'm sure Pheasants Forever. There are, again, a ton of sportsman-focused conservation groups that will all be listed below. Just check it out. There might be banquets and things going on in your area, so you can, I don't know what that is, but you can meet like-minded people that way. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I have been really excited to film this video. I hope that it helps you. If you have suggestions or questions or things to add, other things that you wish you knew before you started hunting, leave me comments below. Let's start a discussion in the comments about this stuff. I love this. I love helping get people in the outdoors. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.